Hello, everybody. How's it going out there? Happy Monday. Happy Monday. I'm Jeff Holiday. I'm here with my buddy Alec. We're talking about Murfreesboro, and the reason we're talking about it is because recently you had white nationalists marching in Charlottesville, and then they also went and marched in Shelbyville, and then from there they were going to be moving to a town called Murfreesboro. And Alec, you live in Murfreesboro, right?
Yeah, I do. I've lived here since 2013. I
Okay.
went to the university there, so
So
yeah, this is my hometown.
can you give us some context as to like how this whole thing started out, the whole idea of this rally and like how it was developing, especially in your town?
Well, I heard about it on like the 10th or 11th of October, and they were originally going to call it Unite the Right 2.0, but then they changed it to White Lives Matter. Now, that was kind of what raised alarm bells for me because Unite the Right was the name of the Charlottesville rally.
Right, yeah.
So I hear that, and then I'm like, wait, what Saturday is it going to be on? It's going to be on the 28th. That was when my college, MTSU's big marching band competition was going to be, and I'm like, I hope they don't have to cancel it for it. So for like a week or two, I'm waiting with bated breath to see if they actually cancel Contest of Champions or COC, and then then the school said we're canceling all activities on Saturday for safety concerns, and like all
The
most of
whole
the door.
school's events all got shut down for it.
Yeah. We and CO Contest of Champions, MTSU's marching band competition is the longest running marching band competition in the country. This would have been its 56th year, and it's a big moneymaker for the band and for the university as well. Bands come from all over the state, and a few come from out of state as well.
Wow. That is
So
fucking insane. I didn't even I had no idea that it was even like that big of an event. 'Cause I mean here I
it's
hear about a marching band competition. I'm like, I mean that sucks, but like actually that's a big fucking deal for you guys.
yeah, it's it's like if it would be like if, like, say UVA is playing Virginia Tech, and then that game got canceled. It's like the
Right.
biggest game of the year. It's usually on Thanksgiving. I grew up in Virginia, so that's kind of like what my first thought of is. But it would be like the Super Bowl for us. It's basically our Super Bowl.
Huh. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
that's interesting.
yeah,
Well, how?
yeah.
Okay, so they announced that they're going to be doing this white nationalist rally, and obviously the buzz is all around town. How many people live in Murfreesboro?
Um, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but I can do a quick search.
I mean, it's a college town too, isn't it?
It is about as of 2016, it had a little under 132,000 people.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So
Yeah,
it's actually it's almost the size of Eugene. It's looking like that's
yeah,
crazy. Holy
yeah.
shit. All right. So this rally's announced and everything. Who do you know offhand? It's not really that important, but do you know offhand who it was that was heading up this rally in specific?
I believe it was a group called the League of the South,
League of the South. Okay.
and another group called the Traditionalist Workers Party.
Oh, I'm familiar with them. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so they announced their intentions. Um, the school ends up having to cancel the college ends up having to cancel all of their events, that sort of thing. How was it with like your family and your community? Was there? I mean, I imagine there was a lot of talk about this going around for weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, the it was in the local news just about every day because like we're thinking, okay, we know they're going to be in Shelbyville in the morning, and then they're planned to go up to Murfreesboro in the afternoon, and then they plan to march onto the university in Murfreesboro, march on
Your
MTSU.
school.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my
Okay.
alma mater. I graduated in August, but
Right.
so the plan was for them to be in Shelbyville, then go to Murfreesboro and march on the town square, and then from there march to the MTSU campus because the ROTC building on MTSU's campus is named Nathan Bedford Forrest Hall. Nathan Bedford Forrest was a Confederate general and one of the founders of the Klan.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So yeah, so they were going to have a rally in front of Forest Hall at like the end of the night, and apparently they were going to have like a torchlight vigil or something, but that didn't pan out.
So wait, so the building is dedicated to one of the founding fathers of the KKK.
Yeah, but he was also a Confederate general.
Right. Well,
Um,
yeah, I know, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, I, there's all these white nationalist groups constantly are screaming about how they get bad press and everything, but like, when you're literally marching to
yeah,
that, that's where you're gonna.
exactly.
Okay. All right.
Well, I
Okay.
think like they did give a list of reasons as to why they were there, why they were
Sure.
going to have a rally in the first place.
Hmm.
There was a shooting at a church in Antioch, Tennessee, a couple of months ago. It was a Somali man who was like a legal resident but not a citizen who like killed a white guy in a church in Antioch.
I heard about that.
Um,
Yeah.
but but from my understanding, they don't believe the shooting was racially motivated.
Hmm.
They just, but I
I
could
remember
be wrong.
that
But
there was a lot of
yeah,
people like theorizing that this is like
yeah,
this is getting back for Dylan Roof and shit like that, but
yeah.
there was no evidence for it. Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that.
there was no evidence for it, and and the other reason they get is because there's apparently they're saying there's an influx of refugees coming into like Murfreesboro and Shelbyville, and I'm like most of the people who are like like refugees from like Somalia and places that
Uh-huh.
live in Murfreesboro go to the university. You know, people who are trying to improve themselves and contribute to society. And usually they study fields like math and engineering. So it's not even
Sure.
like they're studying like gender studies or some shit. They're studying like STEM fields. And
To play devil's advocate a little
yeah,
bit though, to play devil's advocate a little bit, I
yeah,
mean there was the case of like the Tsarnaevs, the Boston bombers,
yeah.
who were in college,
I,
they were naturalized,
yeah,
but
yeah.
that's the exception. It's not the rule by far.
Yeah, it's like most of the time, if you're going to spend that amount of time and you're going to spend like money to go to a university, you're not just going to throw your life away, I would
One
gather.
unless
You
you're
would
unless
hope.
unless you graduate in cultural anthropology. So
Well, yeah. But even then you're not throwing your life away. You'll be a valuable contributor to society by being a barista.
that's true. That's true. My apologies. No,
Yeah.
you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway. All right. So everybody's kind of freaked out about this. How did your family feel about this?
Well, we were all of the mind that we know they have the right to do this. We
Hmm.
just wish they wouldn't because because there would have to be police protection and stuff, and it would waste a lot of resources of the
Hmm.
county. And and this was even before the day of the rally, when after I was there, I saw truly how much like police presence there was there, and you
Right.
can
Well, we're gonna
imagine
look
just
at
like
some of
how
that
many.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's wild. The
And then I was like checking out Antifa blogs to see if they would be there, and it seemed like from some of the like Antifa blogs and stuff that they were planning on being there to counter protest. So
yeah.
I was like, oh crap, if the police aren't on their A game, this could turn into another Charlottesville, and I really didn't want that.
Right. Okay. I'm actually curious if it's going down Murfreesboro. I wonder if they were routing
I
up through
think
that one.
that's one of the ones that I saw it. They did talk about Shelbyville. I don't know if they mentioned Murfreesboro
Oh,
specifically,
they
but
did.
I think
Yeah. Yeah, they sure did. Yeah, they were rallying people
yeah.
up on it's going down.org.
Yeah, that's where I saw it mentioned. So I'm like, oh great, Antifa's gonna be there, so that's not gonna end well.
Jesus Christ, man. Okay. Well, I mean, I
Yeah.
suppose in many ways it's I don't know. I'm glad the whole thing got canceled, but it's still it's ridiculous, and that's why we're here to
And
talk about is the
and this
nuance
wasn't
behind this too.
and this is not and this wasn't deplatforming, to be clear. They
Right.
just decided, like, after they were in Shelbyville and they were outnumbered something like 3-1 at least, that
Oh,
like the major groups decided, like, okay, fuck it, we're not going to waste our time going to Murfreesboro. We won't gain anything from going there.
right. Well, we'll get to
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah.
I wanna walk through it a bit. So everybody's concerned. They don't want to really waste the taxpayers' money. The school had to shut down. What about the rest of the town? Was there other effects that were going into place like as this was coming up?
Yeah, the police urged all the businesses that were in the town square or immediately around the town square to not be open on Saturday. And some of them were saying and they also said you might want to board up your windows just in case something happens.
Right.
So, yeah. So basically, every business that was just about every business that was in the town square lost an entire day's worth of revenue.
Just offhand, I mean, I don't know really what kind of like political demographic or atmosphere is in Murfreesboro. Is it more traditionally like a conservative town or a liberal
Yeah.
town?
Yeah, it's a tradition. It's a conservative town. The college campus itself, the students there are pretty liberal, but like not we're not going to go pulling like an Evergreen State College anytime soon, but
Okay.
the students are decidedly more left wing than the rest of Murfreesboro or the rest of the county even.
Sure.
We yeah, this is like yeah, Tennessee's a very red state and Murfreesboro is a red city in a red state, so it's not yeah. There's like churches on just about every street.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah,
yeah.
I live in an extremely far left leaning town, and there, God, churches everywhere. But I think the reason, and this, it's kind of an irrelevant question, but it's to satisfy my own curiosity. Do you feel like the town was more afraid of the white nationalists or the Antifa when it came to property
Oh,
damage?
it was um when it came to property damage, I don't know because most of my sources for that were mainstream media sources and there was not a whisper of Antifa there.
Right. Even though they did show
So,
up, you know.
yeah, but like there wasn't like they didn't mention Antifa before the event, I mean. So, I had to look at Antifa blogs to see if Antifa was even going to show up.
Right.
Um
The main reason why I look at
my
these things and I've been paying
Yeah,
attention. Oh, go ahead.
my belief is that they would probably be like I don't know who they were afraid of property damage, but I don't know which side they were explicitly afraid of.
Because I mean,
If
we
I had to guess,
traditionally.
yeah,
Oh, go ahead, please, please.
yeah.
You were there.
If I had to guess, like my perspective is not typical of the political perspective around this city.
Sure.
I think, a, but I think a lot of them would have been afraid of like either side going at it. But I was more afraid of Antifa because I was feeling like, okay, white nationalists are a powder keg. Antifa is more like a matchbook.
Okay. Okay. All
So
right.
like if there's going to be
Easier to
violence, the
strike
white nationalists would be very happy to reciprocate, but I would feel that Antifa would probably be the ones to start it.
to set it off. Yeah. The reason why I ask
Yeah.
these types of things, because I mean, that's the unfortunate consequence of a lot of these things. We've seen it all over the place. Thankfully, Shelbyville and obviously Murfreesboro was free of any real violent incidences. Incidences? Jesus Christ, I could talk.
Yeah.
But traditionally speaking, it's been Antifa that have been inciting a lot of violence. But I don't think that that's something that we can automatically assume anymore. Because the way that people
Yeah.
are changing the way they talk about these rallies and incendiarily getting into they're Oh my god, I can't talk. Their pattern of language on the far right is getting more incendiary and more threatening. So I
Yeah,
honestly think it's probably going to get worse, and you're going to see them getting more violent as well.
yeah.
Whether that's a
Well,
reaction to
yeah, and
Antifa or not, I have no idea.
yeah. Well, and the thing is, the far right have gotten like a bit more militant as of late. I mean, you can see like bef before, like they weren't carrying shields to their rallies. Now they are.
Right.
So now
Yeah.
they're coming like with they're coming prepared to in case shit goes down. So you can see like it's not really improving, but the only aspect that's improving, I think, is like the police response, because they say you can't just stand down and hope it'll blow over.
And that's definitely something that we're going to talk about here really really soon.
Yeah.
Before we start looking at some of the footage that you shot, how about the last few days leading up to it, or even that morning? How are you feeling about it? I mean, you were obviously watching the news closer than anybody else.
Once I heard, I was really pissed that the rally was happening, but I'm like, look, I can't do anything about it. It's the First Amendment, and I wouldn't want to try to deplatform somebody, even though what they're doing is closing businesses for the day, canceling my beloved marching band competition. It's just there's nothing I can do about it. I'm pissed that they feel the need to show up, that they're seemingly nostalgic for a war that they lost that was fought for an asinine cause, but I
Yeah,
don't.
I'm trying to
Yeah,
find like what their stated intentions were, but it is actually
I think they
very.
were.
Oh, go ahead, please.
Yeah, they were talking about the church shooting in Antioch and about an influx of like Somali immigrants, I think, but I don't. Other than that, I don't really know why they were there.
I
Maybe they
mean,
thought they would get more. Maybe they thought they would get more support in Tennessee than they would in like Charlottesville or something. But if that's what they were hoping for, they didn't get it.
no, they didn't get it, and they're. I mean, I can't think of a
And this
place
is
in
a
America where they're gonna get it.
Yeah, I mean, and this is a really red state. I mean, I remember when I was driving to school in like 2016. I every day when I drove to school, I would pass by a front lawn with a Hillary for prison sign. So I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
yeah, so like this is not a blue state. I mean, if there were any place where a really far right authoritarian group would get some support, you would think it would be in a state like this, but even then it's not. They're not getting any support. Their ideas are
Right.
just that out of date.
That's wild. That is so damn
Yeah.
wild.
Eh,
All right. There we go. I'm just fixing something real quick
so,
because I keep accidentally dragging my cursor over your face because OBS is silly. All
yeah,
right. Do you know? Well, let's switch over to this so we can look at some of these videos.
yeah.
Um, do you know which one we should start with?
I would just do them in order because it's just going through the rally in order. This first one that's up on Rabbit right now is these were the signs that were like 3 blocks out from the town square itself where the rally would be taking place. They shut down all the roads surrounding the town square. I had to park in like the Murfreesboro Housing Authority, which is like 4 blocks away from where the rally was actually being held.
Wow.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Was there actually metal detector scans happening?
Um, they weren't like TSA like metal detectors. They were like
It's
wanding
wands.
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
No
just
shit.
wands every time you had to go you had to go to get to the counter protest area. There were like 2 checkpoints, like one for one side, one for the other side.
Wow. All right. Let's watch
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
So, free speech zone. Metal detector scans, one handheld signs without poles, sticks, or other devices attached. No. Knives, swords, axes, edge tools, hammers, electrical weapons, chemical sprays, helmets, masks, facial concealing, liquids, drink containers, any kind of coolers, poles, sticks, clubs, or items that could be used as a weapon, meaning bike locks. No shields or handheld barriers.
Wow.
yeah.
That's nuts, dude.
So they had those signs around the perimeter, and I'm like, And I'm like thinking to myself, wow, they really thought of everything. I mean, I think there was one sign at some rally somewhere that explicitly mentioned bike locks, but like this
Really?
one, yeah,
No bike
but
locks allowed.
yeah, but one thing I noticed was no helmets or facial concealing. This video is just about basically just like further commentary on the sign. You can skip it.
Okay.
I just didn't think the first one recorded, so I recorded this one too.
Make sure you got them both. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I hadn't used my phone to record, and my phone runs out of battery like super quick.
Oh yeah.
This
Yeah.
is like 2 blocks out from where the rally was going to be held. So you can see they have like trucks blocking the streets. They appropriated like garbage trucks and other things.
Jesus,
Yeah.
dude. That's fucking crazy.
Using garbage trucks to block the roads. Guess this is in response to Charlottesville.
Yeah. And I would just like to acknowledge to any people watching this, I know I am no Tim Pool by any stretch of the imagination.
It's fine, man.
Yeah, this is like right. This is just past that garbage truck that that was in the last video.
Mm-hmm.
Businesses closed, windows boarded up.
Oh shit.
Just people taking precautions because they don't want something like what happened in Berkeley or Charlottesville to happen here. I've got to say, it's a smart move, I think.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. The town square on Saturday is normally like full of hustle and bustle, as in the mornings especially, because usually on Saturday mornings, especially in the summer, but I think they've stopped them for the winter, they do like a farmer's market type thing.
Okay.
And they have like there's usually a live band that's playing music there.
Right.
When there's not a live band, they have pre-recorded music. So when I'm in the town square, they were actually just playing pre-recorded music, but it was like a ghost town.
Okay.
Yeah. These are the first group of counter-protesters that I encountered. I just decided to, for most of the time, let the footage speak for itself.
Right.
A lot of people have signs and stuff. Some of the signs I agreed with, but some of the ones that got more extreme, I'm just like, why?
Right, like Nazi lives don't matter. That's just a weird thing to say. Yeah, and you know, the last time I went to a protest that was kind of like this, I had people staring at me like I could tell that they were trying to wonder if they should be like angry at me. Are you one of me or are you one of them? And it's such a weird feeling.
Because I was just wearing like basically what I'm wearing now. I was wearing my my bomber jacket, and I wore it because that's like the thickest, like sturdiest jacket I held, just in case somebody snuck in a shiv or something in there.
Right.
Because yeah, it probably would have ruined, because this was my granddad's jacket, who I was named after. So I'm just like, this is the thickest thing I have. This is the closest thing to body armor I actually own.
All right, let's keep looking. Somebody's saying, "Hey, we should talk about Shelbyville." The media talked about Shelbyville plenty. I want to talk about what happened to the town, even when the white supremacists didn't even fucking show up. Like,
and what you can hear in the background is a guy talking and people blowing a whistle. This is where I encountered. I wasn't expecting this, but there were like really, really evangelical Christians like preaching at the counter protest, and some other counter protesters were just like blowing a whistle every time they spoke.
Because they were preachers or something, or what?
I think so, because they were preachers.
Ugh.
But yeah. Like that guy's shirt that I just skipped over that says "All Lives Matter, Amen." That's like one of those signs that I agreed with. I'm not particularly religious, but
right.
Yeah.
Did you see a lot of people that you know in the crowd?
No, I didn't see anybody I knew. The thing is, like, a lot of a lot of people had been encouraged to like stay. A lot of students, especially most of my friends were in the marching band. A lot of them had been told to like you should stay away from this. You don't want to put yourselves in danger. I
Right.
had graduated, so I'm like, you know what, screw it. I want to see this with my own eyes.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. These guys are having a political debate about the electoral college. Uh,
I'd prefer to stay on Earth instead of going to heaven today.
yeah.
You know, it's weird to me. So there's been a lot of these types of protests and shit in Eugene. I've been to ones like for years and years and years. I've been to several of these types of things. Not necessarily about white supremacy, but whatever. And the thing that always drives me crazy is how chaotic and disorganized they are. Like, I appreciate it. Don't get me wrong. I am very much opposed to the very concept of white nationalism and ethno-states. I think it's ridiculous. But
yeah, you were sharp. You were a sharp, weren't you?
as I lived with sharps and I hung out with them a lot.
Okay.
I don't know if I'd ever actually classify. I did brace my boots, but I didn't really. I wasn't in it. I wasn't in it for a long time. I got out of it really quickly. What always drives me crazy is how chaotic they are, and like I appreciate the fact that people want to make a statement that they are against these ideas, but it always gets so fucking nutty. Like, I remember there was an Occupy Wall Street protest that I went to, and there was like 90 people protesting Monsanto, and I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing here? This is what this is about. What? There's other people who are protesting the Chinese occupation of Tibet. I'm like, what? What are you doing? What's the point?
Well, of course you would have. Well, of course you would have yelled at the Monsanto protesters. You are a Monsanto shill.
I do get paid very well. That's true. They pay me in Swiss gold.
Yes, and then memory tells you to do some super chats and then come back to bed.
That's right. That's exactly right. Let's keep going.
I gotta say that is the most epic mic drop I have ever heard in the history of YouTube streams. You should do some super chats and come fuck me. That is the ultimate mic drop. There's no way you can respond to that.
That was pretty good. My wife's a beast. She's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going.
Yeah. Like signs like all people are equal, Black Lives Matter, celebrate diversity.
Sure,
this was not in the counter protest area. This was outside before they had set up the like lines with the metal detectors.
Death to racism.
Yeah. Big ban ignorance, not immigrants.
Yeah. Immigrants.
Yeah.
Icky Trump? What?
I gotta say, that one I thought was somewhat clever.
It's alright.
Yeah. What you don't see is, like, there was one guy with a whistle to the right of the preacher. That guy in the black hoodie right there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. He had the smuggest look on his face, and I didn't get it on camera. He looked... I mean, you remember Smugly Puff, right?
Oh, yeah.
He looked like that, but with a whistle in his mouth. It was just like...
Jeez.
Yeah.
Alright. Let's get Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. The next video is actually worth watching.
Okay.
The very next one.
It looks like it's sideways though.
Oh, that was because that's because my phone bugged out, but you can still. It's more like the audio that's more important in that video.
Let's listen.
God created Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve.
Oh, Christ.
God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. Really?
Yeah, and you can hear me just saying, "Oh Christ," because it's like I have not.
Hang on.
When I was in high school, like 2008 through 2012, when I was in high school,
Mm-hmm.
I was in the Gay Straight Alliance at my school because that's back when LGBT issues were still relevant. Were still like gay rights were more relevant now because gay marriage hadn't been legalized.
Okay.
So
Okay.
those are the kind of things that like I heard back then,
Right.
and even back then we laughed at them.
Yeah, it's been a
Like
saying
nobody
for a
takes.
while. Let's
Yeah,
hear it again. Let's hear it
yeah.
again.
God created Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve.
Oh,
It
right.
wasn't Adam and Steve, it was Adam and Eve. That's right. That's right. You can prove it all you want.
I bet everybody's like, we really wish you were a Nazi so we could be even more mad at you. Boo. Fuck.
Yeah, they're like, boo the hate, and I'm like, boo the bad joke.
Yeah, we're gonna just skip ahead a little bit through some of these. I really want to look at this one because you described this to me earlier, and I think this is great. This is honestly very, very smart of the cops.
Yeah.
Describe what this is.
This
So
is
we've got
after
two
I
rows
had
of
gotten
chain
through the
link
metal
fence
detector.
With the
This is after I had gotten through the metal detector. This was one of the counter protest areas. So the way I'm facing, the protesters would have been inside the second chain link fence.
On the
The
far
way it's set
side.
up is it would have been, there was a chain link fence, a row of cops, then another chain link fence, and then the protesters. That's what was separating the protesters and the counter protesters.
Right.
That's actually a really smart way to do it because like you would have to have taken down one chain link fence to get through, and then
Go through the cops.
and by then the cops would have like converged on the point where you tried to get across, and then they would have just taken you down.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm glad for that because too often the violence that breaks out, I really do think a lot better planning and strategy is the best way to do it.
Well, I knew that like our mayor, even though our mayor, I'm pretty sure is a Democrat, he wasn't going to like cuck to Antifa like the Berkeley mayor was. He
Right.
wasn't going to like let people be violent. He was going to try to keep everything as safe as possible.
Sure.
Yeah.
Which of these last three? Let's take a look at one more of these clips. Either 656, 657, or 658. Which one do you think is the best?
I'm pretty sure well, I'm not sure. In one of them, we might want to have to. I don't remember which ones are which off the top of my head. So just
cool. Let's take a
show
look.
me like a few seconds of one, and I can remember which one it is. But okay, this one is pretty good because because like the guy in the tan jacket that's kind of being obscured, he was a really crazy Christian guy, and he was having debate. The guy who's right in front of him, the guy in the blue shirt that your cursor is on, he was counter arguing him. I mean, he was still a Christian, but he was counter arguing some of his more insane points.
Let's listen.
And
Of course, it wouldn't be a Tennessee rally without a religious nut. Now, would it?
They don't believe in God.
Are you sure he's not either? Are you sure he's sin? He's preaching on the Bible with sin.
God says
love thy neighbor.
body of Christ.
Whether you are black,
That's another thing that I always wonder about these types of rallies, man. You know, like you got, I think I'd probably have to take this and like try and chop some audio master a little bit to hear it better. But I think it's fascinating because so the white nationalists did not show up.
yeah,
They canceled their rally. And so in this void, even before it was apparent that they weren't going to show up, people are already like biting at each other over, you know, whatever political disagreements they could find between each other. And then it gets even worse.
Well, the thing is though, I don't know if that would have happened. The thing is, the Christian preachers were just preaching loudly, and so like people would have countered that anyway. I honestly, if I don't know what would have happened if the white nationalists had shown up. I think they would have like there were only a couple of people debating debating the preacher here,
Okay.
and just like listening to him, and some, including me, laughing at him. But
It's because I mean one of the most powerful things that you can have is a common shared enemy, and it's almost as powerful as a feeling of persecution. Feeling of persecution is more powerful. That'll get people to act like absolute ridiculous assholes. And so in some ways, it kind of could have been better if they showed up, because at least then there would have been that feeling of solidarity, not that feeling of listlessness because it didn't go anywhere. I mean, it's hard to say.
This debate, I think, would have continued because this was pretty far back from the fence.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this was like a block or two away from the fence. So,
okay. But yeah. All right. So let's take a look. Is there one more that we need to take a look at?
The next video, I think, it's these two guys arguing again, I think, but
we'll skip that one.
But it's actually kind of funny because like I just realized how much they looked like a couple of pro wrestlers, and I just started doing commentary.
We'll be here all day if we do that. Let me take this guy. It looks like somebody has a really interesting case.
I just introduced them. The only commentary I did is that I just introduced them respectively as I introduced the tan jacket bearded guy as Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and the guy in the blue shirt as Trevor Murdoch.
So, all right.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. All right. So
I noticed.
Oh, go ahead, please.
Yeah. So this video, I noticed that Antifa was there, and I'm like, oh crap.
Oh yeah, yeah. It wasn't just a resist flag. There's an Antifa right there.
Yeah, I spoke to a local news crew, and they were like, who are you with? And I'm like, I'm not really with anyone, I'm with myself. I'm part of a group of oppressed internet trolls who've been oppressed for thousands of years. I am a Kekistani.
You told an Antifa member that you were a Kekistani?
No, I told a local news crew that I was a Kekistani, but their camera wasn't rolling.
Gotcha. That's pretty funny.
She laughed at it. I think she actually got the joke. I did explain it to her. I'm like, we mock identity politics by using identity politics tactics.
Overblown, hyperbolic, yeah. Okay, so let's. I think we're done with the clips for now.
The very last video, the one that's my face is like the last one. It happened at it was like about 3, and then we realized they probably weren't coming.
Right.
Yeah.
Should we take a look at that one?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So, I still have Saints transitions on. Sorry about that, guys. My bad.
So, it's about 3 o'clock right now, a little after 3, and the white nationalists still have not shown up, which is interesting considering their permit was from 1 to 4 p.m. They might not even be showing up. I heard through the grapevine that they might have that they took a long time to get to Shelbyville, which is the location of their morning rally. They might not even be coming to Murfreesboro. I'm walking back to my car. If I see anything that indicates that they might be coming, I'll post a video then, but until then, might just delete this footage.
I'm glad you didn't. I'm really glad that you didn't.
Yeah, I was like thinking about it, and I'm like, you know what? I got some good stuff from the counter protesters. I was kind of disappointed that I didn't get to see or speak to the white nationalists. I would have liked to.
So the main thing, the reason why I was so fascinated by this, it was like I was saying before, Shelbyville got a lot of attention because they showed up. Charlottesville got a lot of attention because not only did they show up, but somebody fucking died. But the thing that's so interesting about Murfreesboro is that they didn't show up yet. you have a town that for over 2 weeks has been kind of emotionally held hostage because this thing is about to happen. This thing is
Yeah.
about to happen. It's on its way. The whole town basically is shutting down. Something that has been going on for 5 decades, a huge civic event that's been going on for 5 decades, is closed, is canceled because of this,
Yeah.
and they don't even show up. The threat of these people is enough to emotionally hold an entire city hostage, and I think that's really fucked up.
I think one of the reasons that Charlottesville, I don't know, I'm not sure, like with Charlottesville, you didn't see anything about like the possibility of it happening until it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like you didn't, I mean, I didn't see any news about the Charlottesville rally like that it was going to happen before it happened. I mean, from the news footage I saw, it seemed to take them by surprise that the rally even happened.
They had announced it quite a bit, but I don't think I think the theatrics of it is what took them by surprise, because Charlottesville had white nationalists and KKK rallies like off and on quite a bit. I mean, fuck, dude, we've had them here in Eugene. I think at least like once a year, you know, all 6 of them come out and like hold their signs and act like assholes.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just the thing is, I don't know. The main problem that I have with this is because the city is held emotionally hostage, and I don't think that they should, because that gives someone way too much power just by the simple threat of their existence, and I think that's fucked up.
I didn't film like what the lineup looked like, but you had like police there. They were in camo. They had like they were holding like like assault rifles. They had like they were all holding like M16s. They were prominently on display. We had rooftop snipers. We had like every police department, I think, in the state. Like there was the local police, there was the state troopers, sheriff's department, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, the TBI was there.
And it should,
the fire
like,
department.
None of
the
this
fire
should
department
be
was there, and the and a couple of ambulances were there, and just about every like municipal truck that wasn't being used that day was used as a roadblock.
Right. Well, I mean, okay, so Base Mom is in the chat, and she says, I'm not saying they don't exist about just talking about the white nationalists. I'm saying they're being given far more attention than they're worth. And I agree.
Yeah.
That's the whole takeaway that I have of that. And that's why Murfreesboro is so fascinating to me, is that they didn't even show up. But still, because of
they didn't even show up. They didn't even show up. I think one of my videos shows like what the one of my videos, you might want to pull it up, shows like all these boarded up businesses.
We saw it, yeah.
Yeah. No, there was a different one, I think, but I think so.
Oh, fuck, I just closed the goddamn window. God damn it.
Yeah.
Oh well, whatever. No, I hear you, and it's just like, it's insane.
It's like all of these. It was like the town square before a lot of people got there, and it's like all of these businesses. Most of them had their windows boarded up, and like all of these businesses lost an entire day's worth of revenue.
Yeah, this costs fucking money. Now here comes the question.
The Band of Blue lost out of like all the money they would make from the from COC, because like it's not just the bands that pay to show up and all that stuff. It's like we have tons of vendors there. We have people selling T-shirts. We have a lot of food vendors, and we get a cut of all that.
Right.
So
yeah.
Well, the band gets a cut of all that. It's just like all of these. Yeah, that's the rooftop sniper video.
Oh,
yeah, that's just when I first noticed that we had rooftop snipers. Yeah.
This is insane. Yeah. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, but like the police were dressed in like green camo, which I kind of didn't get, because if you're in a city environment, why would you be wearing green camo? Yeah, this is the one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. So it's true that a lot of this is because people are and you can see, yeah, you can see the boarded up businesses and everything. Yeah, they're afraid of counter protesters happening, and then there's going to be incitement of violence. But honestly, at this point, I no longer can put the impetus of fear onto the counter protesters anymore. I don't.
Yeah.
Antifa absolutely has been more violent, but I really don't think it's going to stay that way. I really
Yeah.
don't. And regardless of who's to blame for that, really will be irrelevant because it doesn't fucking matter. The more insane it gets, the more there's a tendency that violence can happen. If you have the ability to
I
shut
mean,
down just the mere rumor of you is enough to put people into fear. Uh, we've got to find. I mean, okay, we could say like, hey,
yeah, I
let's
mean,
just
like for this
ignore
for
them.
this for this rally, even though even though nothing happened at the rally itself, and like nothing violent happened at Shelbyville, there was one piece of violence like at the thing at the Murfreesboro rally, but that was unrelated.
Okay.
There was like one guy walking down the street, then a bunch of guys jumped out of a car, tried to beat up the guy, and then got back in the car and left. But that looked more like a personal beef than anything
Right.
to
Well,
me.
okay, so in your opinion,
Yeah.
do you think just ignoring these people are going to make them go away at this point?
I think because of what happened at Charlottesville, you can't ignore them, because the thing is, even if we as the city as a whole ignores them, Antifa will not ignore them.
Right.
And when those two groups meet, when those two groups meet, something's gonna blow.
So then the question is the right thing to do what we saw happen in Murfreesboro, where basically they were intimidated into not showing up? Because the thing is, if they show up now, we can't stop Antifa from showing up. We can't stop them from showing up. We can't stop Antifa from showing up. So is the safest option for the body public to just simply intimidate them into staying away? I mean, I'm not really comfortable with that either.
I don't think that we intimidated them into staying away. I think they just like they saw nothing happen in Shelbyville and they just said, "Oh, fuck it, let's go home." I honestly don't know why they didn't go to Murfreesboro. They said there was nothing to be gained from going to Murfreesboro at that point.
Maybe it's because they
So
wanted violence to happen. You know, far more
yeah,
persecution points.
I think both those groups want violence to happen,
Yeah.
but like the thing is, the white nationalists don't want to start it, and the Antifa were prevented from starting it. Like all of these things, like there were the way the barricades were set up, the way the metal detectors, the fact that you weren't allowed any face coverings, all of that stuff, in my opinion, serves to prevent, like, has the effect of preventing Antifa from starting something.
Right. Maybe that's what we really need to focus on is disempowering the because right now, and I hope it stays that way. Right now, it's mostly Antifa that are the violent ones. Maybe disincentivizing or very much discouraging Antifa from being violent, even to begin with, is pretty much the only way that we can make this start to calm down.
Yeah.
I don't know. All I know is I just wish all around they just wouldn't fucking show up anymore. That'd be nice. Whatever.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that angered me most, and that was because I had been personally involved in it for so long, was that they canceled Contest of Champions at MTSU for this.
That is fucked.
That had been part of my life for 4 years, and like, if if you had asked me like years ago what would be the most likely thing to cancel something like this, I would have said like an extreme weather event, like severe thunderstorms, like flooding.
Right.
I would have even thought that spontaneous human combustion or the rapture would have been more likely to cause it to be canceled. But
Not a
I
bunch
wasn't
of
I wasn't expecting a bunch of inbred hicks.
Some Twinkie-looking dudes in polo shirts and tiki torches. Yeah, well, you know, that is how it is. Hey, Alec, I want to say thank you very much for reaching out to me and supplying the footage and telling us about what happened at Murfreesboro. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Sweet. All right, well, I think that's pretty much going to be it for us today. I will be out of town. Well, I'll be kind of in touch, but I'll be out of town for the next few days, so I'll be a little quiet on this channel. Otherwise, everybody out there, take care. Love you guys very much. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye, guys.